Hi everyone, welcome to the second episode of Takes with Argus. We're a podcast where we chit-chat about everything and anything from an architecture student's perspective. And today we're going to be talking everything about like inspiration and what gets you creative again. And it's the first episode where we have guests. So yeah, I'm Enrica and I'm your like moderator, host, whatever for today. And you guys can introduce yourselves.
Okay. Thank you for having me. My name is Jillis. I'm now doing my second year of my master's.
Beautiful.
Hi, my name is Daryln. I'm from Malaysia and I'm currently in my second year of master's as well.
And I'm Eva. I'm from Germany and I'm doing my first year of master's. Yeah.
Beautiful. Are you excited?
We are?
Okay.
We're scared. Yeah.
So, I mean, I kind of sent you were kind of prepared-ish for this in a way. I don't know, do you have any thoughts on like, what is inspiration? What does it mean to you? Creativity, anything? Like, since you've known about the topic, what sparked in your mind?
I don't know. I personally didn't prepare for this.
Okay.
So I'll pass it off to anyone who's more prepared.
Yeah, you told me to not prepare.
That's
so,
also
of course, I thought about it.
No, okay. Well,
So I have to admit, I like prepared in terms of like, I didn't do research and I didn't really like write things down personally, but I was like, okay, how to prepare a podcast, maybe just chit and chat with my friends about it.
Yeah.
So I kind of used the opportunity to like call my friends in Germany that I didn't like. I didn't talk to them in quite a long time, to be honest.
Okay.
Like the architecture friends, it's like a bigger group of friends. And then I just asked them like what inspires them and what do they do if they are like stuck in between or whatsoever. So the overall response I got was like talking with other people about it. And we also have like something like Baupub at our university. Like I did my bachelor's in Munich.
okay.
So there's also like some drinking event and there you just chat with other people. And that kind of often opens things and ideas maybe. Like, so it was like the most of the responses were like just talking to other people, explaining, and then like getting ideas. Yeah. So something like that. That was like one thing. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I do have to agree because I feel like the idea of creativity and inspiration, at least within the architecture sphere, is so central on discourse. And it's not just discourse between the student and the tutor, but it's also really centered on discourse between student and student, peer-centered discourse, peer-centered learning, learning from your friends, learning from your cohort. And this, I don't know, it feels like talking and discussing about random stuff, things that happen throughout the day, always generates a very interesting perspective. Somehow, could be hilarious, could be comedic, could be depressing and whatever, but it's always something that you can always try to finesse into a project.
Beautiful.
To a certain extent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's really, I think, from like a project kind of view. I don't know if it's like sometimes it's maybe also nice to just talk to people who are not doing architecture to like go into that direction maybe.
Yeah.
But I think that's a very big thing. Because
Yeah.
the longer I concern myself with architecture, the more you see that it is so much not about architecture as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
can create architecture for architecture's sake, but actually architecture is about
Materializing everything else in a way.
exactly.
In
Yeah.
itself, it's nothing.
Yeah, in itself it's nothing. It's
Yeah,
nothing
exactly.
without a society. It's nothing
Yeah.
without values. It's nothing without input.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. But do you feel like, because now we're back from summer, back from summer.
It's so cold.
It's been 2 months, right? I'm like, we're just back from summer. But do you feel like being off architecture actually helped? Like, did it give you a fresh start? Because I think it's interesting to think whether it's architecture related, not architecture related, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. Did you do anything also architecture related this summer? Like, how did it impact your, like, boost your creativity or?
Yeah, I had a really big architecture summer.
Really?
I did not think about it.
Tell us, how did your summer go?
Yeah.
First we built with a group. We won a competition, and then we got to build a pavilion in the Italian mountains. So that was super fun. And then we did an alternative architecture education student assembly in Finland. EASA.
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, if there are young people listening, go to EASA. It's amazing.
That's a recommendation for the summer.
Yeah, that's a great inspiration, actually.
That's
Yeah.
very good.
I've heard a lot about it. Actually, apparently it's amazing. I have a
Yeah.
lot of friends that went, and it's super nice.
Yeah, I didn't really hear much about that because for me, my summer was I went back to my home country for summer, and I feel like that was quite nice in the sense that I got to reunite with friends back home. And I did still have some architecture-related activities back home, but they're obviously not building a pavilion in the Italian mountains or nothing of that sort.
That's
For me,
rare.
it was mostly about, for example, going back to architecture. My alma mater, for example, went back and went to say hi to friends who are still studying there, former tutors and stuff. And because when I got back during the summer holidays, it was actually around their, how do I say, like final presentation season. So I was able to go back and also be sort of like invited as a guest critic of some of the students' presentations. And so
No way.
yeah, I went back. I was like, I went in and I was ready to roast.
Yeah, retaliation.
No, I was very nice.
Yeah.
Does that sound convincing? I don't know. I think I was very nice. I don't know. But yeah, because of that, I feel like I also had kind of an architecture summer. But it's always nice to see fresher perspectives, younger perspectives, perhaps people who are not so jaded by architectural education, and they are like fresh steps into architecture, and I feel like that was very nice to always see. Yeah.
Yeah, my summer was also a lot about architecture, I guess, because like I finished my internship in the middle, in the middle of August, and then I basically moved here. So it was like
You had a busy summer.
I had a busy summer. Yeah, it was also inspiring, I would say. Like it was like I also visited my boyfriend in London and like went to some nice buildings and stuff. But yeah, I didn't really had this kind of summer break, I have to say.
Okay. Ah, that's fair.
Not so much relaxing.
You got broken over the summer and you came back you started like masters in architecture, and you're like, I'm ready to get broken again.
Don't say that.
I'm crying.
Don't cry.
No, I'm not gonna be broken. I'm gonna be fine.
You'll be fine.
It just gets worse in second year.
Oh
No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't, guys. It's fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah, but do you
Looking
feel
forward
like,
to it.
Yeah. Were you able to start, like, I mean, from your perspective of doing kind of like architecture, but still an alternative way, like very different to what we do in uni.
Yeah.
Do you feel like it helped you start the new year? Like, is there something from your summers that was not like, something from your summer, so that's not architecture, like studies, whatever, that like inspired you, or something you took, something you learned that you're like, okay, actually, like a little spark. Was there anything?
I think there's a lot. I think there's two things. Like one I had a big discussion about yesterday, which was also about this alternative architecture education. There are a lot of workshops there that are not focused on architecture. So we did a workshop called Mystic Ritual Grounds, and it was with a lot of people from all over Europe, and like revealing also hidden rituals that you are not aware of. So it was about the daily and lived life, but also a little bit of mysticism. Like there were people reading your coffee and doing tarot and like doing random stuff. So that was super nice.
So did you get your tarot read?
No, I didn't get my tarot read. No, no, unfortunately.
Next time.
Next time.
But there was some interesting stuff. But it's also something like some stuff is also okay to leave. To have in a mental cabinet that you don't always have to access.
Okay.
But I mean, it's super specific, you know. Like that's, for example, spirituality. for me. It's like, okay, yeah, you can go there, but it takes a lot of time and it doesn't necessarily need to influence your architecture.
Okay. But do you feel like it's because it's so sacred in a way that you want to not?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, you feel also if you have to. There was one person explaining, he was a tutor for this workshop, and he was explaining his world vision, which was quite alternative. And then after he was disgusted by this action and this process. Yeah, he was physically like disgusted. I never want to do this again.
Okay.
But because I also have like something like that. Like if I have to explain the way I am being in this world, I feel like a little bit disgusting. Like I don't want to explain it because every time you explain it, it is something that is inexplainable and you flatten it every time you talk about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I suppose so. Yeah. Yeah. When you put it that way, I also feel a bit mentally exhausted by that as well. By the thought. By the thought, I'm like, I don't need to explain this sort of things. Or rather, I don't want to put in the effort to explain this sort of things. I'm just like vibing here and stuff. And I don't know, like finding like things over the summer that weren't particularly architecture related that inspired me. I don't know, it's hard to tell about like whether if it directly inspired me, but I suppose that when I take a look into what my work usually centers on is always about like people, practices and spaces. So even things that are typically quite mundane, things that happens in a house, in a school, in a classroom, in a hospital. Okay, maybe not a hospital. I didn't get super sick and I didn't visit a lot of hospitals over summer, but you know, the sort of like places that you visit every day or occasionally on weekends on a day trip and stuff like that, they always sort of like help build your like mental storage or catalog of these sorts of spaces, and it's always something that sort of subtly influences my work, I noticed,
Yeah,
over
definitely.
time. Yeah.
Like we have the seminar positions, and we have to bring in reference projects every week. And I just realized, like after reading your questions, I just realized I'm actually like getting inspired by the question, like by this search for references, because I'm never thinking of projects that I've read about or like not that much, but I'm thinking of projects where I've actually like been, like for example, like Tate Modern, for example, like we were like having those. We had to bring in the reference, and then I was like, okay, I've been there, that was cool, and this could like. For example, we were speaking about perception and how we go through a place and what kind of emotions we are feeling going, like perceiving the space. And yeah, I think you have been there. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
to kind of connect building like or architecture to this. I don't know if it, like what. If you understood.
It's like allowing the building or the space to like tap into your senses in a way.
Yeah.
Then only you can finally, I remember this place.
Yeah.
But also the other way around, you need to attune to this experience and to this building.
Yeah.
So you can also go to the same place without being into that attunement or that mental headspace, and you won't remember in the same way. It'll have a different impact on you, I think.
Yeah, I do agree.
But I think it's interesting because if it seems like most of us get inspired from, like, you just live and those things and they leave a mark on you, whatever, but then you don't necessarily, you're not like living and thinking, oh, how can I implement this in this, or how can it relate to my studies, whatever.
Yeah.
But then in a moment where you are not inspired anymore, and like when you have kind of like a burnout, then how do you do? Because if it's not, does that make sense?
Yeah. I don't know, burnout, on the topic of burnout. Do you guys have any takes on like how to deal with like creative burnout and stuff like that? I don't know.
Well, there's a lot of stuff, like not yet on burnout, but on the thing you were talking about, like being inspired also. And about being inspired, like going a little bit meta, because it's super interesting about how do you get inspired. Like people, I feel like it's people who are not so experienced in architecture, they will also use a lot of Pinterest, for example.
Yeah.
And you get caught up into this algorithm
Yeah.
that is feeding you stuff that is working for other people. So it's like building on cliché on cliché on cliché every time that you access it as a source of inspiration.
Ooh, that's tricky. I do use Pinterest sometimes.
Same for me. And I would say I also get inspired by Pinterest. I have to admit, but it's mostly because I think like I have an idea in my head, and the question is, how do I explain this idea? Like, what kind of drawing, what kind of collage? Is it like a concept model or whatsoever? And I think for those things, Pinterest is really helpful because they are like beautiful drawings, like they have been done before, and sometimes you just, it helps you to kind of figure out, okay, I love this color combination because it like looks nice, and then Pinterest helps you to get there. Or like also like booklets like do you know this like Japanese color book with like the different I don't know the name of it.
I think
sadly.
I've seen it before, or
Because
something similar to that.
For me, every time I don't know like what color theme I'm going into, I'm just like grabbing to this book and like searching through it. Because it's just nice. And then I think Pinterest has like the same but digital effect. Like I can like search for a way to pronounce my work.
But I think it's very tricky because
It
you're really good, I think, at not working towards an image or an aesthetic, but really thinking where it comes from and developing from that. But I think that's a talent, you know? Like, it's really not that easy.
Yeah, it's really not that easy, but the first thing is be aware of it.
Yeah.
Because you can have a beautiful image of a building, but it's not about the image, you know, it's about the process of how it got there, and that is interesting. There's a difference between, and there's also a difference between like looking at Pinterest for a way to articulate your work. That's super, I mean, I get that. That makes so much sense to me. Of course, like you can do it and it's a little bit cliche, but it's also, it can be nice, you know, there can be.
It's like you look through books as well sometimes.
Exactly. Yeah, true, but then your work is already there, and that is, I think, a crux. Like that's
it's
super.
just about the pronunciation.
Yeah.
So, but what gets me inspired is, I think, if I'm stuck, like I also talked about this with my friends, and they were all like, drink alcohol, talk to your friends, and then go into nature, and then do some arts, or like just do sports. But those are like nice answers, I think, and I would say it's nice if you have time for that. Then that's maybe an answer to your question. But sometimes, in my opinion, you also kind of have to be, okay, I'm not that inspired right now. Maybe I'd like take a step back, but I do something for the project. So I just like start doing something and have that kind of mindset that I can like make it better later. So to have this like, it's more about like not being afraid of the work, like just like starting and then being like, it doesn't have to be perfect, it doesn't need to be finished. But
exactly.
I need to like have like a first thought and like something on the paper.
You need to be counter-perfectionist and not be afraid to make that first step, because then you have something to base another thing upon.
But I think that's really hard.
It's the most scary. I talked to somebody who was graduating today, and she was like, I don't dare. And we were talking about exactly this, because she's in between research and design. She doesn't dare to jump. So we're gonna hold hands next week, and we're gonna jump together and then see what happens.
I usually never stay long enough in studio to hear this announcement.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Because this is actually, because like for me, it's so important. Like actually this here is like a huge change for me, because that the university is closed on the weekend doesn't make sense to me, because we had studios, we could be there 24/7.
Yes.
Like always. And there was like this kind of studio culture where like we were kind of building our own living rooms in those studios.
Yes.
It was really, people brought plants and coffee machines and microwaves. Like you have this infrastructure here, but like yeah, that was just how it was. And then it was kind of like everybody was just constantly every day in studio.
Yes.
And this kind of was part of the routine. And then you could also see what other people are doing, how they are doing it. Especially, I think, in the first year, that's super helpful because you do not know that, I don't know, before you like glue stuff together, maybe you like put glue on and then you wait a few seconds and then you put the pieces together and then it's easier. And those kind of things, I think you just learn from like being in the studio because your peers are like making mistakes and you kind of learn from them, or you're making mistakes and people are maybe showing stuff to you. So
Yeah.
yeah.
It's interesting because I feel like when it gets to the last bits of a project or when I'm stressed and I have to produce, and then it's like I've been postponing the thing of like of jumping. I don't jump. I just go and research. I read. I don't draw or I don't do anything. And then actually having noticing, like going to studio and seeing what everybody else has, just puts me even more pressure.
Okay, so maybe the difference is as well that we have like a lot of group work there.
Ah, yeah.
So
Okay.
it is more difficult to like find this a place outside of uni to like work together. But yeah, it is a lot of group work. So it's
You keep each other accountable,
Yeah,
which I think
yeah.
goes back to what you were saying of like just doing it
Yeah.
in a way. And it's true. If you have an individual project, it's so much different.
Yes.
Because I think I'm if I don't have a vision, if I don't see the purpose, I
Yeah.
have such a hard time being like, you know what, I'll just sit down and do it because I'm like, what's the point? Like,
Yeah.
I'm not doing anything.
Is it a waste of time what I'm
Yeah.
doing right now?
And,
Yeah.
and
Is
it
it
needs to be
really?
like intentional. And for the intentional, I need to have a direction. I need it to make sense. And maybe it is in a way added pressure for nothing. And I think in some way, maybe sometimes you do something and then you realize and then you have inspiration. I don't know. It's, yeah.
Yeah, for me, for example, it's something I learned during my internship. Like they always do those reports like A3s, and then just everything you do, you kind of do a report to kind of explain what you did.
To document.
To document. And now I started on doing those reports also for my like weekly meeting with my tutors to just like, I don't know, to just see also my progress, I guess. And this also helps me extremely because it kind of helps to build up a storyline in your head. And once you have the storyline, you know what kind of things you need to do to produce. Like once you understood, okay, my narrative is we have this building and we have like a zoom out and then we are zooming in and then we kind of have the program and we put it in this way. And then you kind of understand, okay, I need a model, I need just like a hand drawing, or I need like a proper section. And yeah, I think that helped me. And this is sometimes also like the very first step to just like set up the InDesign file.
Yes.
And like
Having a structure.
starting with a structure, and then the thoughts are like kind of starting to run as well. Like, do I do a collage, or maybe just like a small picto? Like, how much do I need to tell the story? And then that gives me like, if I don't know what to do, then I'm doing an InDesign file.
It's the go-to.
That's helpful.
Okay. Yeah. Huh. Yeah. And I was also just wondering, do you feel like it's necessarily needed in our field to be like, are you scared? Because we're graduating this year. Are you scared that, like there is architecture produced? Like, do you need creativity, inspiration to produce good architecture? Or are you scared about like going to the, like working and how that shifts? Does that make sense? I think that's not a proper question, but
I feel like I kind of get what you mean because I feel like part of this fear, at least for us who are graduating soon, there's such, you can't ignore the fact that there is such a huge gap between academia and the workplace. And it's something that, just like how we had to adapt to uni, we also have to adapt to the industry, to the workforce, and it's always tough.
yeah.
And perhaps I think it might be tougher when you're graduating from university and going into the workforce compared to, let's say, you're from high school and going into university. Because at least in university, you are aware that everyone is sort of like starting off with you as well. So you feel comfortable, or you find comfort in the fact that it's not just you who is just this little fledgling, like a duck who doesn't know what to do at all, but you're just like a flock of equally clueless ducks trying to figure out what architecture school is. But when you go into the industry, it's like so intimidating. I feel like intimidation is incredibly difficult to overcome. And intimidation is something that really sort of stifles your creativity and inspiration as well. Not because you are not creative, it's because you are scared to give your ideas. You are scared to voice out your opinions because you would think that maybe everyone else is more experienced than you. So yeah, it's like this mental block. But yeah, I definitely think it is quite intimidating, at least for me, because I'm in the second year, right? It's with some of us here as well. So I personally feel intimidated, scared as well. Yeah. It's competitive out there.
Yeah, but why do you feel intimidated?
I don't know. It might be because of maybe it's also because of cultural background, because hierarchy is extremely sort of like ingrained. So there's like seniority in like perhaps my cultural background as well. So partly because of cultural background, partly because of there's always this feeling that you are not as brilliant, or you don't have that much of a say over certain things because I do not know how a construction project works, for example.
Isn't it also just fear of failure, to be honest? For me, it would be I would go to a new setting. I've done an internship before. But I would go to a new setting with new people and people who expect good work from me. And I think architecture firms in general differ quite a lot. I think they have different working methods. They use different CAD programs. So and you have to get adapted to that surrounding. And I think it is completely understandable that one is a little afraid or has at least a little respect of that moment where you kind of have to fit in.
Yeah, exactly.
And fill in a gap because you were hired to produce and to, I don't know, have good ideas. And
but as an intern, maybe not actually.
As an intern, maybe
as an intern, maybe.
Yeah, it's true.
You feel like you have to
small, but
you
are
Do you feel less intimidated now about graduating now that you've done an internship?
I think so.
Have you done an internship as well or no?
No, but I'm just very naive. And I really treasure this naivety. I'm not going to be afraid of something I don't know because I don't know it, so why be afraid?
Okay,
that is
words,
such a positive, nice view.
But do you think it comes from also your education here in the Netherlands? Because I think the cultural aspect, I think, is actually very relevant.
Super big, yeah.
How were you always like this? Do you think it's part of your character, or is it also no? Because I wish.
Yeah.
You know?
I think it's part of the character. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just you.
Yeah, I mean, there's not really a trick to it.
No, but I wonder if maybe education in a way, because I think the cultural thing of regardless of what you do, you're below someone. Mm-hmm. Kinda.
Yeah,
I mean, making it simply, it's a bit of an extreme, but
pretty much,
in a way.
Yeah.
And here in the Netherlands, not it feels pretty flat. Also, just the relationship we have with our tutors, the conversations, everything. I think it changed as well. Also from my bachelor's.
But I think for me, it's also I have a few friends who have graduated, and now that you can see them, some are struggling, some are not struggling, and a lot of preconceptions about graduating turn out to be not true, and to be sometimes even exact opposite. I think that's what I've been experiencing the past half year, I think, working with a lot of people who have graduated already. One person, he studied here also postmasters, and then after he was finished, And he said, yeah, now I'm working for this firm in Belgium and it's amazing. And somebody said immediately, oh, you're working for a firm, you've sold your soul.
Yeah.
Because that's a preconception here, like, oh, you'll work for a big company and sell your soul. But this person is doing exactly what they wanted.
Yes.
Like exactly their interest and research. And then another girl I know, she was doing communal living and she's working now for the municipality and she has a 9 to 5 and she loves it. And then I have other friends who do freelance stuff, and that's like the dream. Oh, you're doing freelance, you can do whatever you want. But he's building a concrete structure on Sint Maarten because that's what pays.
Yeah.
So that stuff, it's sometimes so crooked and so flipped, and people scare themselves.
Yeah.
So much here, I think.
But I mean, that kind of makes sense because you have connections and you kind of know what to expect then maybe. And then also if you have like people who talk about it super positively, then that's something to look forward to maybe.
Yeah, but also negatively, like for example, the freelancing stuff, it's not all
it's
sunshine
difficult,
and violence. It's really tough.
Yeah. So you trust that there's a space for everybody in a way?
I mean, yeah.
It's always nice to be optimistic about things, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's always bound to be a space. It's just depending on whether if you have the willing to put in the time and energy and effort into looking for that space, and whether if you're okay with putting up maybe if you're not so lucky, then are you willing to also put up with some periods of or discomfort and stuff until you eventually find your place.
Yeah, exactly, because that's the thing, it's about balance.
Yes,
always.
exactly.
You'll work in a firm you don't like, you'll go to a firm on the other side that you also don't like, and then finally you will get there.
Yes.
But then maybe it's also a little bit of confidence about trusting the process, about being okay.
But I think that comes...
That is maybe a thought that helps when you're not inspired.
Yes.
Just
Trusting
be like,
the process.
I'm trusting the process.
That's comforting, can be.
Yeah, that is comforting.
But you need to have completed the process at least once.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
But if you haven't, if it's something different, because I think that made me think of the fact that if I have nothing, if I'm not sure where I'm going, because I feel like I lose inspiration and creativity when I'm not sure about the big picture in some way, or it doesn't fully align with my values.
Yeah.
Or that's where I get lost in a way.
Yeah, or angry.
Yes. And whatever. And in those moments, I normally actually look back to often things that are not architecture, to be fair, but things in the world or how people, sometimes architecture, how architecture can relate to those problems. Because I think I care more about like societal problems and people and everything, and how architecture can have a play in this and a role and whatever. And in that sense, I always need to like watch a documentary or I love going to like talks, lectures. And I think once I hear, for me it's like then I have like ta-tang, 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 and I'm like, okay. And it gives me a bit of hope and it helps me trust the process. Because I think I cannot, I don't find inspiration within myself. I mean, sounds bad,
That
but
makes so much sense.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, we also like with our studio, we sometimes have like additional lectures in the afternoon, and then like firms, like architecture offices stop by, or I think that's now happened a few times, and then they just explain their work and what they've done, and just seeing other people giving a lecture and being like super enthusiastically about it kind of like gives motivation. I don't know. It just like there's some energy then you can easily hop onto.
I'll jump on that bandwagon as well, and I'll just preface this by saying that this is not an advertisement, but I personally one thing that I really appreciate about this like faculty at least is that there is this dedicated building for us architecture students, and they are very active in finding people to speak, finding people to talk about topics that may be related to architecture, maybe not, but they are always hosted somewhere in this faculty, exhibitions. So you get to see other people's work have the opportunity to be exposed.
That's true.
In this faculty. And going back to my point is that I really appreciate one thing about this faculty is that even though, yes, it closes on the weekends, but at least they have a lot of nice exhibitions, nice talks, nice lectures.
Definitely.
And just things for students to
Kinda get going.
Yeah, kind of get going. And if you find yourself, you can't always be in this creative like production. Yes, we can do everything.
Okay, I
in
want to
the
say
studio.
something.
Yes.
I want to highlight at this point. I want to highlight that I think it is different from where I did my bachelor's because we cannot enter the university whenever we want to.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it also maybe pushes you to more work-life balance.
Yeah,
Okay,
maybe.
yes.
Because they are limited. Like this workshop area is very nice.
Yes.
It's super nice. Like also the staff, lovely.
Yes.
But it closes, so you have to get shit done like in a certain period
And
of
you
time.
have to do
Certain period
other
of time,
things.
yes.
And you have exactly, so you have to
forced.
schedule yourself in another way.
Yeah.
And I think that's good as well. Like that also gives structure, and that maybe also reminds a little bit more of like a work-life. Like you have work
There's more
during
to
the
life.
week and then
Yeah.
more life on the weekend
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah, there's
You
like
need a
more to
life-work
life than
balance
just work.
instead of a work-life
And you need
balance.
rest as well for creativity, inspiration, everything. we
Yes,
talk about.
rest is very
Yeah.
important.
Yeah, get your sleep.
Yeah.
Get your sleep.
Yes.
Yes.
That's so true, actually.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
drink water.
And drink water. And eat
Stay
well.
hydrated and
Yeah.
and sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But actually, to wrap it up, because
Do
we're going to be
sports.
kicked out, we cannot stay here 24/7. I kind of like.
If only.
I'm always super happy to hear everybody's like favorite thingies. So I can what I mean is like, for example, I have podcasts that I always listen to that I find super inspiring.
Oh, yeah.
Like Design Matters. I don't know if you know from like Debbie Millman.
No, send me some. I'm so
Yes.
lost in architecture podcasts.
I feel like
can't.
that one, that's the
there's
thing.
like
I
a-
hate all architecture podcasts. No offense. I have not found one good one. But I do. Design Matters is just for the creative people. And
Okay,
I find that
it's-
so much more interesting than just like architecture.
Yes, it can be quite
personally.
tiring
Yeah.
at some point.
Yeah, that one I don't like.
Yes.
I think there's one podcast. Like, do you know the Danish Architecture Center? They do a podcast, and I think that's quite nice. They also
Okay.
interview different architects, and then they go to that site.
Oh,
and they're interviewing, and then they also visit the site with the architect. And I
great.
think that's kind of cool.
Okay.
But yeah, it's really about Danish architecture as well. So
Yeah,
it's,
that's the thing.
but that's
Yeah.
it's cool. Like it's the only podcast, not the only podcast. Like I know also another architecture podcast, but it's in German.
But you can shout it out. We have a lot of Germans here.
It's called Jurfix.
Okay.
And actually, like friends of mine I met through Next Year Plus. It's like a network of students
Okay.
and like young architecture professionals. And the Jurfix podcast, they just like, it's fun listening to them because it's more, just like student boys talking about architecture and what they like, what inspires them, or maybe also what kind of all sort of topics. It's like really, it's about daily stuff, but then again about like typical like different offices. It's also nice, but it's in
Yeah.
German, so
Yeah. I think that's the one I sent you also, just on a podcast I thought of. It's like from the Funambulist. They have a magazine, which I showed you already, and they have really good stuff of like alternative ways of like approaching architecture space, all the practices. I find that super good. And on that note, like in Rotterdam, there's a lot happening actually, and like the Independent School for the City.
Yeah, or
there's
if
plenty of
you
stuff.
want to have architecture talks, go to a new institute.
Oh, yeah,
it's
full.
so lovely.
But I think now
so
that we're
cool.
talking so much about like having more architecture in our lives, I think maybe we should also like highlight that sometimes taking a break and like stepping
Yes.
away from architecture
Stepping
and
away.
doing something completely different
Also helps.
helps a lot as well.
What's
Like,
your favorite thing?
Like I started
Like
doing
what thing?
pottery.
Oh,
I started
Nice.
and that is so much fun. Like on the
Really?
throwing wheel.
I'm so frustrated. I did the course. It's impossible to center that thing. It's like it gave me stress. I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna relax between like architecture stuff, whatever. I go and I'm hungry and I'm stressed for 2 hours straight because that thing just flies off and then it gets too wet and it's not centered. And how?
Actually, I don't know. I just maybe the key is that I'm like I have studio on Tuesday,
Okay.
and then I have pottery on Wednesday.
Oh.
So I am like I'm like stressed until Tuesday.
Yes.
Okay.
And then, or like more stressed until Tuesday. And then on Wednesday, I like can have like, I do something in the morning because I have then pottery in the afternoon. And if I do not do something until pottery, then it's a wasted day.
Yeah.
So, but I do stuff, but then in the afternoon, like I still have like, in my head, I'm like, I still have 5 days until Tuesday, so I'm fine. I
Exactly.
can really like
Take a chill
relax.
pill.
Exactly.
Yes.
But doing stuff with your hands is so nice.
Yes,
Yeah.
I
Get
do.
into the
Yeah.
zone, let everything flow, let architecture
Yeah,
go over your head.
exactly.
Work with your hands, your body, feel it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Be
Yeah.
in this world.
Yeah.
What's your practice?
So random.
What's your favorite
I
thing?
made grass paper. And I think you maybe saw it. It was in the studio. But I also worked on an art exhibition with a friend, and we were melting lead in a pan, like super unhealthy, weird
oh my
stuff with a
goodness,
gas
okay.
mask, and then throwing it in a bucket of water, and then explodes and it freezes. You get crazy shapes.
I hope you didn't do that in your kitchen.
Yeah, we did it in the kitchen.
Nice.
No way.
No, but like doing random stuff, I would say. Yeah.
helps you,
Yeah, it helps a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, I do agree. Like taking a step away from architecture and not having to constantly keep yourself in this architecture inspiration loop also helps me to keep inspired and creative and stuff, because I really agree with working with your hands. That's why for me my go-to hobby that I like to do when I'm sick and tired of architecture, of studio and whatever, for me I always like to write in my journal. I guess that's how I try to process my thoughts as well.
Yeah.
And anything that I just need to decompress. And for me, it's like, it's not something like I'm not trying to cook lead in my kitchen. I'm not doing pottery. But for me, at least, I have like a safe outlet outside of architecture for me to just write. Because then when I write, I use my hands, I use my hand and my pen to write. I don't write in my phone notes app. And so for me, it keeps like the connection between my brain, my hand, my thoughts, and my introspection, my thinking, and you know what? It helps me to center myself and not spiral too much.
Yeah.
Definitely helps. Yeah, just a small daily hobby or routine that helps you to tap out of architecture. And then after you tap out of architecture and then you feel like you're ready to tap back in, then you do go ahead and tap back in. But it's always good to know when to step back.
Yeah.
I feel like.
I think that's great. Okay, we're gonna get kicked out, so let's go.
Okay.
Thank you very much for coming on. I had such a good time, actually.
It was very
I feel
nice.
less stressed now.
Nice.
It's been really nice to talk. Thank you, everybody, also for listening to us. Please go like, subscribe, whatever, comment, whatever you want on YouTube, and also follow us on Argus on Instagram. And if you want to participate, if you want to be here and chit chat, because every week we'll have different people on a different topic.
Enrica loves to chit chat, guys.
I do. But if you also, if you have suggestions of what you want us to talk about, or if you want to come, just send a message on Argus. YouTube and Instagram follow. Spotify as well. Spotify, rate us. I actually wanted to, whatever. That's it. No, I was going to go on a tangent. That's all. And you'll hear about all of this, so follow, okay? Any words of wisdom?
Words of wisdom, I don't feel wise.
Sleep
No?
and drink water.
Yeah, sleep
Sleep
and
and
drink water.
drink
Yeah,
water.
very
And change your location.
What do you mean?
Change
Physically?
Go
like,
get out.
Go,
of
get out.
Go out of your don't be in your flat all day.
That's what they'll tell us in a few minutes.
Once a day you need to get out.
No, I
the
went
faculty
yesterday on the
closes.
balcony. I was like, I just on the balcony. I
But
took a
that's
bit of
fresh air that counts.
Voilà, thank you. Thank you. That's enough.
Okay,
Okay.
three things: drink water, sleep, and change your location. Goodbye.
Okay.